Next January, the trial of Ousman Sonko, the former Interior Minister of the Gambia, accused of crimes against humanity, will open before the Swiss Federal Criminal Tribunal in Bellinzona. My name is Philippe Currat, and I'm Ousman Sonko Defense Counsel. Let me today talk about the career of Ousman Sonko. Ousman Sonko started his career in the Gambia Armed Forces. He was deployed with the United Nations Peacekeeping Forces in Sierra Leone, UNAMSIL, throughout 2001. His performance rating by the UN was considered outstanding, and he was recommended for further UN missions. In his comments, the Chief of Staff of the UNAMSIL wrote, and I quote, "Captain Ousman Sonko has completed an exceptionally successful one-year operational tour as a military observer with UNAMSIL in Sierra Leone. He has served in a variety of appointments in different team sites and has been most favorably reported upon by initiating officers. I support their remarks and assessments. He has clearly made a very significant contribution indeed to the disarmament process in two different areas of Sierra Leone, and I thank him most warmly for this work. He clearly has a very bright career ahead of him, and I am glad to recommend him wholeheartedly for future service with the UN." End of quote. He was then appointed an IGP, Inspector General of Police in the Gambia, in February 2005 until November 2006. As IGP, he professionalized the police in the Gambia. He created or developed human rights units that have been set up in every police station in the country to enable any citizens to report any abuses committed by the police. He was appointed Interior Minister in November 2006, and apart from a short period between February and May 2012, during which he was offered the post of Gambian ambassador to Spain and Venezuela, he remained in this position until September 2016. As an Interior Minister, he has cooperated with representatives of the European Union within the framework of Article 8 of the Cotonou Agreement, which aims in particular to, and I quote that article, "Through their dialogue, the parties shall contribute to peace, security and stability, and promote a stable and democratic political environment. The dialogue also includes a regular assessment of development in respect for human rights, democratic principles, and the rule of law and good governance." End of quote. The Cotonou Agreement covers the 79 countries of the ACP group and all the countries of the European Union. Ousman Sonko also led two delegations of the Gambia to the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva to submit the situation of the country to the Universal Periodic Review in 2011 and 2014. At these occasions, he drafted and submitted to the UN a policy manual for the use of force and a code of conduct for the Ministry of Interior and the Security Services under the purview of the ministry that contains, among earlier, a law enforcement code of ethics. He also invited the UN Special Rapporteurs to visit the Gambia. In May 2014, he led the Gambian delegation to Darfur, Sudan, to attend the ceremony awarding the United Nations Medal to the detachment of the Gambian police force deployed there. It is worth recalling that the African Union United Nations hybrid operation in Darfur, known by its acronym UNAMID, was established on 31st of July 2007 by the adoption of Security Council Resolution 1769. UNAMID's primary mandate is the protection of civilians, but it is also responsible for contributing to the security of humanitarian aid, monitoring and verifying the implementation of agreements, supporting an inclusive political process, contributing to the promotion of human rights and the rule of law, and monitoring and reporting on the situation along the borders with Chad and the Central African Republic. UNAMID ended its activities on the 31st of December 2020. With regard to the prisons, it should be borne in mind that most of Africa's prisons were built during the colonial era, and this is also the case for the Gambia. What's more, these prisons were designed to lower standards than those applicable in Europe at the time. Since independence, development aid has continued to exclude prisons, making it impossible to rehabilitate old, dilapidated buildings to bring them up to the standards currently prescribed by international law. Nevertheless, during his tenure as Interior Minister, Ousman Sonko developed projects to improve the situation. In particular, it tripled the budget of the prisons to feed the prisoners. The development of the Gambian health system has also enabled him to ensure that prisoners whose state of health requires it are treated in hospital. Once again, it should be remembered that prior to 1994, there were no doctors or health facilities in the Gambia. The only doctors available were foreigners from Cuba. It is also in the light of this general situation that we must analyze the progress made during his tenure as Interior Minister.